Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Five Drinks to Midnight. Another show where we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks, we try to wrap up before midnight. Today we got a good one. We're going on a flavor journey with Dixon Dedman, the master blender of 2XO whiskey. Before we do, like and subscribe, do all the things, bells, the whistles, everything. Really help us out. Let's get started. Dixon, thank you so much for joining us. Five drinks or midnight, five drinks, five questions, midnight, whatever comes first. How you doing today, sir?
I'm awesome. I have been looking forward to this. This was I've watched these. And it's really cool. I'm honored. I'm thrilled, man. I really am.
Well, thank you again. We appreciate your time, and also, first of all, thank you so much for the samples. Again, I'm very intrigued because they just came numbered, so I don't even know what they are. So I'm really excited to start cracking stuff open with you tonight. So
yeah, that's kind of how I roll. Sorry about that.
No, it's awesome. I love it. It's just
I can get like a printer in my office to work, but it's like, oh, a cute little thing that you got to put on. That's not me. It's not happening. You're getting a number.
Yeah, no, I love it. Like, again, it also just keeps me from cheating. So like it just is really like, again, keeps me honest, and you know what, you don't have, you can be fully surprised, and
Yeah, the great thing is, like, I don't remember what I put in there either. So we're doing this live. I'm just kidding. I do.
Excellent. All right, well, I guess start of question one is, what's drink one?
Well, that I want your take on drink one. Drink one was when I was when I was given the guidelines for what this is. It's like, okay, just whatever you want to send. And I went in my little honey hole, and I was like, what's fun? Like, what do I have here that's fun right now? And this is a really cool bottle. I've shared this with some people. It's very interesting. So, I mean, I can't wait to hear what I mean, you may be like, this dude's trying to kill me. I don't know, but very, very, very cool bottle.
It's got a nice nose. See, I because again, I feel like I'm a terrible taster under pressure, so it's always like getting orchard.
You're putting the total emphasis on you, like it's all on you now.
It's all on me.
The rest of these will be closer to home for me, but this is just a total outlier that I just thought was fun.
Well, cheers, I guess, first.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Talk to me, Goose.
Well, that's good. Is it a wheater? Is it a wheat whiskey?
Look, man, I'm totally messing with you here. And you tell me, are you ready? You want to know what it is, or you want to guess a few more?
No, I don't want to look like a fool. Like it's like, like master and like apprentice, and I feel already that I'm already failing this test. So
no, this is not fair. What I did to you was not fair at all. It was mean, and I'm probably going to pay for this over the next 4 questions or 5 questions and all that stuff. But I had it. It was super cool. I ran across it. It's a 1975 7-year-old Yellowstone.
Wow.
And just an old funky dusty thing that is just super cool, super funky. And I was like, I bet he'll think this is pretty cool.
No,
90 proof, just that old whiskey stuff.
Thank you. That's fucking amazing. That's
Yeah, I used to like slip these old dusties and stuff like that, like into tastings I was doing with people, and they would just be like, I have no idea what this is. Is this whiskey? Is this rum? Is it what it, and because you have to be kind of conditioned for that type of thing, I guess. I mean, if you haven't had that or not, but
I have that.
I thought for a guy who's probably tasted just about everything, this might be kind of a fun thing for you to sip on.
No, that is really good. So again, what's the proof on that? Like it
90
yeah,
proof.
okay. It's so it's nice. Like it's
Well, what I love about it, even at 90 proof, that viscosity, because that would have been low off the still and then aged in a certain way. Proof would have dropped over the, so it's a lot of, there's a lot of thickness and viscosity there, because there wouldn't have been a lot of, like, the proof wouldn't have gone up and they would have brought it down to barrel it or to bottle it. I mean, it's just that really kind of rich syrupy, but it's got that little bit of butterscotchy
yeah,
touch of that kind of weird umami thing. It's fun that you get in old whiskeys.
a little leathery, but it's good. Like
Yeah.
it's damn good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you look at the bottle and there's like a sheen of kind of filmy, dusty stuff on the outside and everything. It's like, yeah, this has been in grandma's closet for a while or something like that. It's pretty cool.
That's all. Yeah, it's like this is the one like you're cleaning out like the garage, and grandpa had this hidden in the toolbox somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
grandpa forgot about this several years ago.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice though. This is because it's got that, like you said, like the little bit of butterscotch. I'm getting leather. I'm getting a little bit of orchard, but damn,
Touch of like citrus, like there's a little citrus note in there, something like that. But it's I love those old whiskeys, and I'm a blender based on feel. Like, I'm not like, okay, this is carrying a lot of notes of hibiscus and a touch of elderflower balanced with rhubarb and, I don't know, toasted nutmeg. Like, it's like, how does it feel? Like, like, does it do I recognize it in weird parts of my palate that I don't like, or does it really flow and feel, and does it have a thickness to it? And like these older whiskeys, even at lower proofs, they carry that thickness. They have that like almost oily quality to it, not in a bad way, but like
yeah.
and I love sharing these with people, like because I get it all the time. Like somebody's like, hey, we know you're a whiskey guy and grandma just died and we found all these bottles in the back of the closet. Like, are you interested in these? And I'm like, yes. Every time, 100% yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, I feel honored that you shared this with me. So thank you.
Cheers.
Oh, that's nice. All right, well then let's just jump right into question one. We've all heard the stories, we all read the interviews, we all know the origin story, but we want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. How'd you get started in the whiskey business?
I mean, I fell ass backwards into the whiskey business. And I not to get whatever sentimental or whatever that word is, or what, but like I was a huge bourbon guy, and it goes back to growing up in the hospitality business. I was my family was in the innkeeping business, and but Central Kentucky, right in the middle of Kentucky, from where I grew up, the Four Roses distillery was maybe 12 miles, Wild Turkey maybe 15 miles. I mean, Bardstown 25 miles. We grew up I was in a dry county. My family operated a white tablecloth restaurant for 80 something years and the strongest thing we served was black coffee. Um, and I was back from college, and that legislation changed, and we put in a bar, a tavern. I was huge into bourbon, so I turned it into, or I kind of modeled it after a bourbon bar. I wanted to have one of the best selections in the state. Started doing tastings, really fell in love with nuances of profiles, and really kind of started enjoying articulating how I tasted things with other people. People would come in and say, "Yeah, I've been a Scotch drinker, I'm a vodka drinker, or a wine drinker, or whatever. Tell me what I need to know about bourbon." And it was like, okay, how can we make this so simple that people can appreciate it? And then I guess I really started to realize that um, I had a decent palate for it, and understanding of it. Um, I was, it's in my family, it's in my background, that part of it. I know I watched the episode. It was great watching Mark and Sherry fall all over themselves and kind of like trying to get in front of the camera. They're my favorite people. Um, and the biggest part of it was wanting to do something, wanting to, I mean, it's a bad way of saying like wanting to get out of the shadow of what my family had done for forever. But we had kicked the tires and tried to figure it out, and really, when I explained what I wanted to do, or when we were talking about what I'd like to do, I think whatever you believe in, like things put you in a certain place at a certain time, and things happen. And for me, it was a guy who I'd known my entire life, who was a very close family friend, who was one of my dad's best friends for a long time. Mark came back and into my life, and it was totally a night about, we were drinking too much and kicking things, and all of a sudden, I was kind of saying, I was asking him about one question. I was asking him about doing a wine for the end. And I was like, but you know what my dream is? And he was like, well, we can do that. And I was like, well, yeah, I know, could, but like, it's just really hard for me to figure out how to jump through all these hoops and all this red tape. And he was like, let's do it. And I was like, well, I really want to do it. But, and it completely turned into one of those conversations you have at night where you drink way too much and you wake up the next morning and you're like, what the fuck were we talking about? And then I woke up the next morning, my wife was like, God, you and Mark went off the deep end last night. Like, that was pretty insane. And that's what I will always love about Mark, is like, my son the next day is like, he's like, can you, are you really? And I was like, yes, I'm all in. I'm going to do this at some point. I just got to figure it out. He was like, well, I'm in to figure it out with you if you want to figure it out. And that's really how it started. It was kind of, it was one of those things, like, I don't know, when people say best laid plans, but we had no plans. We just thought it'd be fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, we got a bunch of whiskey to pour at our kid's wedding one day because nobody bought it. That'll be fine. It'll be great. We'll say we did it. Like, cool. I mean, for me, it was a win. When I gave my dad the first bottle and I said, hey, Dad, I was able to bring back, your great grandfather, my great great grandfather. That was it. That was a win for me. Anything after that was, but it was, we didn't start it with some plan to, I never thought that if you'd said fast forward 12 years, that's what you'll be doing almost exclusively. It was just like, this would be fun. And I'm kind of one of those people, you keep telling me enough times that you can't do it, it's just going to piss me off to the point I'm going to say, okay, now I'm going to go figure it out.
All right. How'd like 2XO come about?
There's nothing that I have very few regrets in life. And I think a lot of times people always want me to say, oh, I regret selling the brand to Stoli, or, oh, I regret doing this or whatever. And I don't. I mean, I don't. the company, the Stoli that I partnered with and sold to, they were phenomenal. I mean, we had 3 to 4 fantastic years together, and it was fun. We did great things for the brand. We accomplished a lot. We went above and beyond what I thought we could do or how we could do it. I mean, it was great. And then it wasn't, and that's okay. Like that's life. Like that's just relationships end. They just do. Um, and at that point in my life, it's kind of like, okay, what am I gonna do? What do I want to do? What makes me happy, or where do I want to go? I don't want to. I'm not a serial start this, sell it, work. Like I don't want to do that, and I don't know. I was trying to figure that out, and then some guys that I work with very closely said, "Hey, man, you got too many good ideas. You're too good at this to not." And that really meant a lot to me. It like meant the world to me. They're like, "Hey," because I was doing consulting and helping some people with some brands, and I like that. Like I like helping people out, but putting out other people's fires can be a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna put out fires, I'd rather be my own. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So, they kind of were like, "Hey, look, we should figure something out." And so we created this 2XO concept, and it was really, it goes back to what I love doing, the rebarreling, double maturation, working with the liquid. I of course, if somebody one day said, "Hey, let's build a distillery," I'd think about it. But why in the hell would you build a distillery when you can find a partner who will make you exactly what you want, and you can then store it the way you want to store it, and then work with it as it's finished? Like I don't, I'm not a distiller. I know enough to operate a distillery for a little bit. It would blow up at a certain point, but um, it's not my thing. Like you just, make some great stuff. Let's work with it, develop it. And so, we created this concept 2XO. We talked to a bunch of private equity people. It's great when somebody says, "Hey, I'll write you a huge check. There's tons of money trying to come into this industry." Everybody's like, "Yeah, how much you need? What are you?" And problem with that, and there's nothing against private equity. I think private equity is fantastic. But for me as the owner, when they say, "Yeah, we'll write you this check," and then the next conversation, it's how fast can you grow it so that we can flip it. I have that didn't sit well with me. That wasn't right for me. And so I got approached by a group to look at the barrels that they had been laying down for several years. They wanted to create a brand and had been laying down a bunch of barrels. And I went and looked at their stuff, tasted their whiskey, and I just assumed it was going to be very generic, 3 or 4 or 5 year old stuff that I was going to say, "Yeah, you're on the right track, age it, whatever." I was presented with this stuff. It was phenomenal. I met with them. I said, "Look, you've got some really special stuff on your hands, and you know what do you intend to do?" And they said, "Well, we don't really know.
Okay.
We don't really have a plan, but we'd like your help creating one." And I said, "Well, I have a plan. Would you like to see my plan?" And I showed them the 2XO concept. And 5 minutes into that conversation, they said, "We want to do that. How do we do that?" And it's again another one of those situations where I just I don't know if it's the right place or right time or what it is, or if it's karma, if it's, I don't know. But I mean, I pinch myself every day for the situation I found myself in again, to have, a group to partner with, has great liquid, has the resources to help me, kind of build this brand and this concept that is really, it's I thought Kentucky Owl was going to be my legacy. I mean, I thought that's what I was going to do. I thought that one day, one of my children might take my place there, and that didn't work out, and that's fine. But I'm not sure that things don't happen for a reason, and maybe it's because this is the right place for me and for us, and to be. So
Awesome.
this may be a longer answer than you're expecting for these questions, and I apologize.
No. Again, there is no such thing as rambling on this show. Again, this is two friends sitting at the pub, and again, I think that people love the trueness factor of it. So I don't think there's anything called rambling. So I think it's just two friends sitting at the pub and we're having a good time. So on to question 2, drink 2.
Drink 2, question 2. I like it.
All right. What should I pour and taste again? And then
yes, absolutely. Pour and taste again.
All right. Pour 2.
Those what are those glasses called again?
They're called the Tua glass. So they're an Irish drinking glass. Tua in Gaelic means family or nation. And I tell people that that's what we become after we drink together. So,
well, that's right. And then we talked about buying an island and creating our own nation, which I think is not a terrible idea.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw that. Like, I know we're like, you joke, but there really is an island off of New York called the Whiskey Island. So, and it's only for sale for like 28 million. So it's not a big deal.
I guarantee you we could find the money to buy that. We have to bring all those bottles. Like, all we'll do, we'll put up our bottles.
Yep. And then
Food buys the island.
Yeah, we're in. It sounds like a good plan. Set up a nice blending house and a rack house, and we'll be set. So that we
should talk more through. We should talk this through. This is not a terrible idea.
All right.
Much more of today's bourbon here.
Okay.
We're this is a pretty significant pivot from the 1975 Yellowstone.
All right. It's a little bit more heft to it. See, now I'm getting all nervous. I don't know that this whole.
Yeah, I mean, you've never had it before. I mean, it's not. You don't have to. What I thought would be cool. So what we released behind you, what you were talking, what we said, the Phoenix blend, is made up of 4 components. So there are 4 different bourbons that make that up, and you're gonna try 3 of the 4.
Okay.
In this tasting, and it was a really fun thing that I kind of cooked up when we were talking about how we're gonna some of the events we're gonna do leading up to this. You get these requests all the time, and people are like, "Hey, we'd love to have you come do a tasting. We'd love to have you do an event. We'd love it, and it's like, well, at this point, I have whiskey.
Yeah.
So what I did was I pulled some samples from all the different components, and we would go do these events, and it's really a pretty incredible blending experience and tasting experience with people where you pour 4 bourbons for them, and they say, I like this one, but it's a little bit spicy. I like this one, it has some youth to it. I like this one, it's, whatever. You go through all 4 of those and you taste the finished product, and all of a sudden they go, holy shit, how did those 4 things turn into this? And I don't really know how that happens. Like, I don't, like, there's no real science science to it. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's kind of walking through this. And a lot of times in blending, it's not like, oh, let me find the 4 best things I've got and put them together, and they're just going to turn into the tears of a unicorn. A lot of times it's like, okay, let's see, a little more of this changes this just a little bit, and it brings it a little bit more here, and so blending and talking to people about blending, it's funny, they're in their mind it's always like, yeah, we just start kicking out the bad stuff and we create this pool of all the things that are good, and then when we put them together, they're excellent. And generally when you try to do that, the things that you think are good, you put them together and then it tastes like shit. And so what's been fun throughout this Phoenix launch and stuff like that is to walk people through these different components. And sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, this is a jam, and I don't like, whatever. And it is really funny to and then you put it, like, then you get the final piece, the composite, and it's just like, wait, all of those things are in there? It's like, yeah, they are. And it's finding that magic ratio,
Yep.
and to just turn into something completely different. So
Yeah. I think it also just goes to like the magic of the experience, that like everybody thinks that blending is so easy because it's just taking stuff and pouring it in a bottle and being like, oh yeah, it's done.
My family, we had this great relationship with Seagram's when I was a kid. And at that time, Seagram's owned Four Roses. And so when we were at the inn, the Four Roses team was at the inn a lot. And I got to know Al Young very, very well. And I got to know Jim Rutledge very, very well. And Jim Rutledge is somebody who I will never be able to say thank you to enough for taking my calls and spending time with me, and I remember sitting in Jim's office late. I was on my back from Bardstown. It was probably 6-7 o'clock, and he's up there and he's grinding away on like the 2012 or 2013 limited edition small batch. He's got all these samples in front of him. And I was like, but he took the time to like listen to me and, whatever. He's like, please come in and taste this, and I was like, Jim, I remember saying, what I don't understand, what I'm really struggling with here is, if I take something that finishes really sweet and lives on the front of my palate, and I blend it with something that's really spicy, in my mind, I should get this great sweet to spice thing. Like I should get this complexity from sweet to spice. And then when I put those things together and I taste it, it just goes blah. And I was like, it was like, I said, am I crazy? Like, but 1 + 1 does not equal like 2 here. Like it can equal 5, or 1 + 1 can equal -1. Like it's just, and he was like, as soon as you know that going into blending, you're 3 steps ahead of everybody else. And like I will never be able to say thank you enough to him for him taking the time and walking me through a lot of this stuff and spending time with me or whatever. But it's just so funny when people now are like, hey, I'd love to come blend with you for a day, or I'd love to come to, and it's like, one, I don't start at 9 a.m. and drink until 5 and then go home. But 2, it's like a weird internal search. Like it's not, you're not just like doop, 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 doop. Okay, no, that, you know what I mean? Like it's like you very little of it is done on paper. It's a lot of just kind of like you taste this and you taste this again, you taste this and you taste this again, and it's like an intuitive kind of crawl towards something.
This is actually very nice because it has a Like I don't get a lot on the upfront, but I get a lot in the back. So like it gives me a good.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a little.
Yeah,
spicy.
there's super spicy, super spicy.
Yeah.
35% rye here, so super spicy. To me, there's a lot of it's fruit to spice. It's like red fruit to spice. Like you don't get a lot of those barrel notes, those like caramels, toffees, vanillas. It is red fruit to spice in this one.
So this is one component of 2XO.
That's correct.
All right. Well, then let's jump into question 2 then. This actually comes from our mutual friend Dave. And so Dave McNulty.
Oh, great. Great. Fucking fantastic.
Dave wants to know what your dream for 2XL is. More of a dream than aspiration.
I don't have any delusions, and I shouldn't say delusion, maybe that's not the right word, but I'm not trying to take over the world with 2XO. I don't expect or intend for 2XO to be a bajillion case brand. I don't, my dream for 2XO, truthfully, since it's just you and I at the pub and no one's watching.
Yeah.
I want, and what I love about this industry and what I love about what we've accomplished so far and what I'd love for 2XO to be is a brand that people take a certain amount of ownership in because they know the story, they know what it is, it's special to them. I don't want, my dream is not for 2XO to be the well brand across the country. I don't care if we're in every Applebee's or in every airport bar. I've said this a million times, but the greatest thing about what we accomplished with Kentucky Island and so far with 2XO is that people say, "Hey, I bought this and I can't wait for this special occasion to open it," or "We opened this because this happened," or that means more to me than any review that you get or whatever. If we can be a brand that people say, "Hey, this is really quality stuff," the people behind it are legit, like, cool people. It's a fun brand. Like I want to support them because I like what they're doing. We're not the goal of this is not to build it into some empire. My dream would be to create a brand that is well respected, that is well thought of, that is something people are proud to have at their house. People are excited to share with other people that don't know about it. Selfishly, my dream with this brand is to create something that kind of lives on. That maybe one day there's an opportunity for my kids say, "Hey Dad, I think what you built is really cool and I want to be a part of that." Like I want to do that, not because it is the McDonald's of whiskey, but because it's got like a heart and soul to it.
Sure.
That people respect. I would say that's, I mean, thanks, Dave, for really digging deep there. I really appreciate that.
All right, let's turn this bitch around. Let's go ahead. Question 3, drink 3.
Let's go.
All right.
I already poured drink 3. I beat you to drink 3.
Okay, cool. That's fine. All right. Oh,
That's a trick bottle.
I was gonna say it's got the well, if I'm wrong, Oloroso finish, maybe. No, you're
I
good.
can. I know. I mean, I like where you're going with it. I'm just. I'm watching. I'm interested. I'm
You're a
intrigued.
damn good poker player. You're like just stone cold. Like you're like, yep, nope, he's wrong. That's nice though. Mm. That's a fruit bomb. That's fruity, yummy. Okay, what do we got?
So that's essentially the exact same thing that was in the second pour,
Okay.
except that spent. I dumped that at almost. I guess it was almost a little over 6 years old. I put it into a new charred oak barrel, number 3 char level, and aged it another 9 months. So that's the same juice that was in the second pour, but
Okay.
with 9 months in a new charred oak container with a number 3 char.
Wow. Okay, so no, not even a wine finish. So
No wine finish.
wow.
New American oak. ISC barrel number 3.
Shit. Wow. All right.
I kind of mess with your sniffer with the 1975 Yellowstone, so
Oh,
you can blame it on that.
no, but like that's. I mean, again, that's really nice. That's absolutely really really nice.
Yeah, they're awesome. All of those, they're all at 104 proof. So that the number 2 and number 3, 104 proof.
Okay.
But it's that additional maturation, 9 to 10 months in a number 3 charred American oak barrel. And that's the only difference between the second one and the third one.
That's there. I like this. This is good. All right. Well then let's turn this puppy around and question 3. So you're a man of many obsessions. We share 2 of them that I know of. So what are your sneaker and whiskey or most coveted sneakers and whiskeys that you're looking forward to right now?
So I'm a sneaker guy, but probably not like maybe I'm more of a sneaker buyer than a sneaker guy. Like I don't watch for the drops. I just
Okay.
buy them when I see them or whatever.
Gotcha.
A guy I worked with many years ago left and started working for Michael Jordan's tequila company, Socorro.
Okay.
And he gave me a couple of pairs of Jordans. I was kind of a shoe guy, but not crazy. And he gave me a couple of pairs of Jordans. I wore a couple of pairs of Jordans to a couple of different events, and all of a sudden, it was amazing to see when you walk into an event and a pair of Jordans, and people are like, like it's like totally changed. So I bought a couple pairs, and then next thing you know, somebody's like, "Will you come do this thing?" I'm like, "Yeah." I come, and they're like, hey, "We got you these custom J's, and we got
Nice.
So yeah, so it's a problem. It's really more of a problem because my kids have gotten into it, and my
I was
kids
gonna say
always want Jordans. Yeah, it's a huge issue now with my son. Like, Dad, my Jordan 4s are too small, but I gotta have, and it's like, we can't do this. But I think it's kind of, this is not probably where you wanted to go with this, but like I remember the kind of the culture when I first started with Stoli was very corporate. I mean, when I would come to New York, and I was going to New York for 4 or 5 years. I was in Manhattan every 6 to 8 weeks. But you go in the office, and it was like a suit, no tie, or slacks, a coat, no tie. And then there was somewhere in there was a little bit of a turnover. It got more casual. I started showing up with, in like a sport coat and jeans and a pair of Jordans or whatever. And then I started doing like going to events and then all of a sudden people were like, because it was really hard to go into an account or an event or whatever, and you're trying to do this like, okay, I'm in a suit and I'm from Kentucky and I'm talking about whiskey, and people are looking at you like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, this doesn't add up. Then it got to the point it's like, what's a lot easier to talk and sell and is like to be myself, which is in a pair of sneakers and jeans and a hoodie. And then all of a sudden, like, it didn't take near as long to break ice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Half the time people are like, holy shit, are those, are those shattered backboards or are those, whatever? Like, yeah. So I'm a shoe guy, for sure. On the whiskey, on the bourbon side of things, there were three that were always my jam, and they're probably lame and whatever. But I started collecting in, I don't know, early 2000s, late 90s, and it didn't matter. I went through that whole thing that everybody goes through, like, oh, I've got to have I've got to have two of everything. Now I got to have three of everything. Like, am I going to drink it? Probably not, but I got to have one. I got to have it, whatever. And I purged all that stuff. But the three for the longest time that I always look forward to, I thought were the three best bourbons that came out every year, and it's Pappy 15.
Okay.
I know people want to, there's like there was the Pappy love and then there's Pappy hate and whatever.
Drink what you like.
The 15-year-old Pappy Van Winkle is the best expression of weeded distillate that is, I just think it touches all the boxes.
Okay.
Four Roses limited edition small batch. I have everyone going back to 2008. Like, I just love them. They're magical. The 2013 is one that really took me to another level with collecting and wanting to have stuff and whatever. And then the third is George T. Stagg. George T. Stagg is how I rate every barrel. I mean, it is just, to me, it is, especially the early ones, it is what barrel proof bourbon should want to be.
Okay.
I got plenty of the old Willets and I got plenty of the, all that stuff, but those were the three for the longest time that every year, like, I have to have one of them.
Sure. No, I get you, because so again, I will tell you, I make shoe contact before I make eye contact. So I'm always checking out shoes. That is always the first thing that I do, especially with, like, and again,
sorry, my shoe game is kind of lame tonight. I apologize.
Old school Vans is pretty damn, again, the checkerboard black on black. That's pretty dope. Rocking some Vans down in Kentucky. It's too cold here in New York to be rocking Vans right now.
Yeah, it's probably too cold here too. But
I think I got my concrete dunks are what I'm wearing. They're out in the living room. But and then I come to find that a lot of whiskey people are sneakerheads. Like, it really is like one of those things that, like, when you go to a convention or anything,
oh man,
like, it's always, people are always rocking. My friend Pierre dropped a thing today that he started a sneaker bottle battle. So best sneaker, best bottle, put them in each other and take a picture. So, like, that was the whole thing. So we'll have to get you involved in that now. So that's all. Do you take the aspect of, like, also with sneakers, like, you buy the one to stock and one to rock kind of thing? Like, do you do that with your?
No, I will say I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you take that aspect also then with your whiskey as well? As you have one to crack and then one to open, and
I did
the
until
stone?
I started to realize how many damn bottles of whiskey I got. Like I don't know. I mean, my grandkids will be drinking my whiskey that I have. Like, there's no.
You can be those dusties, like
It's just like, because what's cool, what actually is really cool is like these groups and people that come to Kentucky and they're like, hey, we're coming, we're picking a barrel of, whatever, picking a barrel of Russell's or picking a barrel for us. Like, would you come and participate and just like, kind of course, like, there's nothing more fun than picking a barrel. Like, that's
yeah.
fucking fantastic, and then they send you like a couple, and I'm like, I'll just put it on the shelf with all these other. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah, I get you. Like I totally understand that. It's how you get floor whiskey and corner shelf
Mhm.
whiskey and corner whiskey and downstairs whiskey, and yeah, it's
Right,
it's all
right.
over the place. Drink four. I
Drink
mean,
four.
I know we've been off on a little tangent, which is totally fine. So this feels a little bit more bolder to me. This feels a little bit. I know that you said they're all the same proof, but this feels a little higher. It's got a little bit more of a burn to it, which again, not a bad thing, but could be totally wrong. So again,
No, you're tracking exactly right. So again, um, same juice that was in number two, but this spent between 9 and 10 months in a char 4 barrel for so for its double barreling.
okay,
So heavier char, um, much more robust. Touch smoky to me. It really kind of. I mean, it's just heavy. Like, it's a heavy. The kind of the fruit component is really minimal, and it's really more of that. Now, it also lives a little further forward on the palate, so
yeah.
it's not. It takes the spice out of the back. It is really heavy on the front with all that kind of barrel stuff going on.
So off of this, then again, not looking for industry secrets or anything, so you can just say no comment. But were you given these barrels, or were you given the juice and said go ahead and put them back in the barrel at X
No,
amount?
no, no.
Oh,
Yeah. So what's really cool is basically, when I presented the 2XO concept to, the people I partnered with, they had all this, they had all this liquid in barrels.
okay.
Um, and they basically said, take it and run with it, man. Like, do you. Like, this is, you're you're the captain of the ship now, and so I made these decisions what to do with this stuff, and did tests, and then built it out, and grew it or whatever, and based on some of my previous experiences and things like that. But I had a pretty good understanding of you take spicy, fruity stuff that you have in number two, and you give it a lower char, and it's gonna deepen it, but it's gonna stay in that lane. You go to a heavier char like a number four, it's really it's gonna build on the front end and take it away from the back end. Because at the end of the day, like, what I try to do is create this inventory of barrels of liquid with all these different flavor profiles, and that's what that's when I get to do what I love to do, which is sit down and paint with all these different color paints.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so I love what was in the second pour, and it was like, how can I take that and kind of make it into a few different things that I can use to blend and create with.
All right. So question four.
Question four.
a little bit of a get to know your personality a little bit more. So, if you were going to have a flight tasting for 3 people, who would the 3 people be, and what would the flight tasting be?
Wow. That's a really, really good question. There's no way Dave McNulty thought of that.
It might be a combination of like 4 of his, but like yeah.
Are there caveats to this? These people that are alive
You could be
or
live, dead,
or...
you choose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it would be really easy to make up all this, like come up with these really lame answers, like Jesus and what, but I'm not going to do that. But I this may be kind of lame.
No such thing.
I would want Jim Rutledge to be there because I treasure him. I would want my father to be there because he is, means a lot to me and it's very special to me. And then I don't know. I mean, I go a lot of different directions with this, but I tell you who's a really and I thought this guy was a really cool cat way before he died and turned into a real, but from the food world, I mean, I'm a big I don't know if I don't want to sound super cheesy, but like Bourdain, Bourdain's a guy that was my guy back before everything.
Yep.
I have 4, right? Or I have 3?
That's 3, but like again, you can have 4, you can have whatever. But again, I don't think Bourdain is cheesy because I mean, I would love to sit down. I mean, I quote Bourdain like at least once a week. So
Bourdain was a guy. I mean, I got it was cool in my previous life. I don't know if you know this or not, but I accepted a beard award one time, and it was really cool. Bourdain wasn't there, but like hanging out with those guys, like hanging out with Danielle Ballud and Andrew Zimmern's the one who put the medal on my, like some of those guys are kind of goofballs. Some of those guys are really cool, but like I was a Bourdain guy just back when it was like, let's just travel and eat stuff. And he would probably like you sit down and have a whiskey fight with him. He'd be like, I hate this. Give me a Coors Light. But I kind of respect that too.
yeah.
So if we were doing, but I would, if it was my dad and Rutledge and Bourdain and you and I, I'm going like,
Well,
let's.
now I'm even more fucking honored that I get invited.
Yeah. No, you're in. You're absolutely in. But I would do something sneaky. I'd do like, I'd walk them from sweet with I don't know, maybe a Weller 12 to like, I wouldn't do anything crazy. Like, well, I shouldn't say Weller 12. That used to be really cheap. It's not cheap anymore, but
Depends where you are. I mean, like
what I would love to do with that group is talk profile, and so you go sweet with something weeded into spice, like something high spice, like or just something that has a spice profile, like a turkey, then into kind of a Four Roses fruity thing, and then throw them something weird like a Rowan's Creek with the nutty thing that I think they'd be like, is this more Irish than, and be like, no, and then finish with something really heavy like a barrel proof that kind of smacks them over the head with a mallet or whatever. But like I wouldn't, it wouldn't be one of those things where I'd be like, hey, let me get all the best stuff I can. It's like, no, I like, let's see if you're worth your salt and can differentiate some of this stuff. But the problem with that question is I'm going to think about that for the rest of the night. Like, what should I have said? Like, it's really
no. Again, you just got to go with it. Like that's the.
I know, but in the middle of the night, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be pissed at myself. Like, oh, I should have said. But that's a really good question.
No, I mean, honestly, you have 3 really fucking great people. So I mean, I I respect that. I mean, all right. So, question 5, last drink of the night. I'm assuming this is 2XO.
Oh
Or,
no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's
yeah. What can you tell us about it, please? We
So we've talked to 3 of the 4 components. The only component that's missing from this is the lower rye component, which is kind of a baseline component or whatever. But it's kind of where this really is just really where this found balance. And so as we went through this, and you got the last 3, you kind of had this like fruity spicy thing, then it was more fruit, less spice, and then you go into these like heavy notes. And I always like, I'm a feel guy. Like, I want it to register front to back. I want it to stay in the middle. I don't like whiskeys. I don't like you to feel them on the sides of the palate, the extremities. That's where you get bitter. That's where you get acid. That's where they're green and tannin. Like tannins show up on the side. That's a feel, not a taste. But I want it to be right down the middle. And so this blend, this 2XO blend, is that, to me, it was that great balance of all of those things. So you can get that sweet barrel richness on the front, and it moves to kind of a pop of spice and red fruit, and then the finish lingers, but it's not too long. It's just enough. It's kind of a sneaky drinker or whatever. But it's just in building a whiskey, you're trying to find that place where all of those things marry, and they all show what they want to show, and the flaws are not there. And that's, um, that was the goal, and that's, I think we did a pretty decent job.
I will agree. I mean, now I get all of it. Like I smell all the 3 other variations, and then you get the taste. So yeah, like it's damn good. Honestly, that is fucking delicious. So
It's what's funny in like doing this and doing the deconstructive tasting is like, some people are like, I really love 1, I'm not crazy about 2, 3's okay, 4 is whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. Like, the point is that it's not the quality of the parts, it's how they marry and how they mingle and how they come together. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that
yeah,
make sense?
totally. Like yeah, again, like I'm getting all those, like taking the deconstructed moments. Like that is, again, each one of them in their own was amazing. But like now, tasting the full component for the very first time is, I'm digging it. Like it's fucking delicious, and I'm getting those things. Like I pick up the 2, I pick up the 3, I pick up like 4. I think you should just bottle right off the bat. So like that, but like, oh, this is amazing. All right, so question 5. Comes
Question
down
5.
to the flip your whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want, but the coin gives us the answer. So, question 5. It has been 35 weeks since we've gotten a video. Are you going to bring back Whiskey in a Box?
Has it really been that long?
It has.
Well, fuck yeah, I am. I mean, I've been called out. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, hell yeah, whiskey, dude. I tell you what, there's 2 things about Whiskey in the Box that are kind of funny, and one is that I was so bored, and it was so sad. Like, I'm going to my inn and my restaurant, but like I'm going there every day, and it's shut down. Like, like I was like, I need to do something. And then I did it, and then it was so much fun. Like, and then all of these people, they're just like, "Hey, can I pick? Can I send you a sample? Can I do this? Whatever." And I was like, "Well, this is really cool." And the second thing that really stood out to me about that was how many people were like, "I can't believe you did that. Like, I can't believe you put yourself out there like that." And I was like, "What, to be wrong? Like, I don't, I'm wrong a lot. Just ask my wife. Like, I don't, like, I don't, you know, I don't have superpowers. Like, I don't, whatever." And in terms of tasting that stuff, it's like, it's just fun. Like, it was fun. It was a good test. I've failed miserably many times. Um, I was, I get, when I would get close, I'd feel really good about it or whatever. But and then all these people, they reach out and they're like, I can't believe you did that, but it's inspired me to do this. And I was like, well, okay, that's kind of odd. This was not supposed to be an inspire like inspirational, whatever. But it's like, no, look, I, we all take this too serious. Like, we all take this too serious. Like, this needs to be and should be about, yeah, I like it, or no, I don't like it.
Right.
And sometimes it's like, yeah, I don't like it, but I really like the people I'm with, and I really like the situation I'm in, and this is fun as hell.
Yep.
And so, whatever, like, this is, that we're not curing anything or solving anything or whatever. It's fun for, it should be fun for all of us, and it's okay to be wrong. And no one has to be an authority. I'm not an authority. I know what I know. I know enough to be dangerous, but there are gajillions of people with better palates than me out there that can articulate things better than I can and do all this stuff better than I can. It's not, this, like, the whiskey in a box thing. Like, I needed a break. Like, I needed
Yeah.
and it was fun.
I
And
mean,
this
again,
should be fun. This should all be fun. It should
yeah.
all just be exactly what you're saying. It should be two dudes in a pub having some drinks, telling some lies.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And yeah, and I mean, I love the custom box that you had made and everything. Like, it's beautiful, but I also just love the down homeness before the custom box. Like, it was just like,
Well, the custom box kind of screwed me up,
yeah.
because I really liked the cardboard when I can throw it when I was angry. And then this guy made me a great box. He actually made me another one. And now I have to be respectful.
Yeah.
But yeah, damn it. That's it. If you asked, it's coming back.
Excellent. And
Listen, my friend, it's been a pleasure to drink with you. And I really, really, really look forward to doing it in person.
me too. I really, like, again, no bullshit aside. Like, you come to New York, we'll get Dave out. We'll have a good time. And yeah, like,
No, I look forward to it. Thank you for having me. This has
thank you.
been really cool. It's a pleasure.